Hi, this is Lorraine, and if you will give me just a minute to clear, center, and balance my energy, we will get started. Okay, well, so this week I did receive a lot of messages. I'm just going to convey them in order. I think that's the best way to do it. We just had the lunar eclipse, and then we had the solar eclipse last Thursday. And creating this portal, I guess, of energy, of one door closing while another one opens. And so between that, I think it was about a week's time during that window, there's a lot of shifting energy, but it wasn't shifting. The shifting was in preparation for that opening of the door. And I think based on the video, or what I discuss in this video, you'll understand better what I mean. At the end of my last video, or during my last video, I talked about all the pieces coming together. I talked about destinies and people who are destined to meet coming together. I talked about the sky opening and the gentleman up looking over the side, and that exchange of energy. One of the things I didn't talk about, some of these things are kind of difficult for me to talk about, so I leave them out. And so I'm going to go back to something, but the first thing that came to me several weeks ago, I just want to talk about really quickly because it's meaningful during this time of transition. And when I was watching Initiation with Matias De Stefano, it was season 3, episode 8, Activating Earth's Kundalini. And he had, in the very beginning, there were images of these beings of love and light from Sirius, and he talked about 2 different beings that exist on their planet, one in the northern hemisphere, one in the lower hemisphere, southern hemisphere, and both beings came to Earth to prep Mother Earth for humanity. And the second that their images came onto the screen, I was overcome with emotion, and I was overcome with love. And I knew they have so much love for humanity. What they were doing to prepare Mother Earth for humans to be born and evolve on this world, they put every bit of love, time, attention, intellect, everything, mind, body, and spirit, in prepping this world for us. And all I felt was just all this love in this endeavor for us. It was just overwhelming. I was just sitting in the beginning of the show just in tears because I could just feel how much they loved us. And I believe it was that episode where Matthias was talking about how all the portals closed, and so some of them were trapped here on Earth, and they died here on Earth because they couldn't go back to their home planet. And the feeling I got when he was talking about that was, they said to me they were happy to be here. They were happy to end their lives on this world, because every part of who they were, those beings that came to this world to check on us and to see how we were doing, or the beings who were living on this world at the time, that was their purpose. That's what they were here to do. And so if they were meant to pass on this world, then that is how things were meant to be, and they were accepting of that. So it wasn't a loss for them. They weren't upset or afraid. It was just part of their purpose in that lifetime that they were living. Then I was watching, this morning I was watching, what was it, season 3, episode 10. It's the final episode of season 3. And there was images of Arcturans on there. And again, I'm looking at, there's this one male that they have drawings, obviously, that they use. And his eyes, the second I looked into his eyes, I was just in tears, because I could feel the love. All the love they put into us in helping us to be ready to live on this world and to ready us for our journey on this world. I mean, it is overwhelming. It's divine. The love that the Syrians and the Arcturans had for humanity before we were even here, and then after we came, was divine. It is pure, unconditional love. What they were willing to do was profound, meaningful, and it is definitely of the divine. And so I thought that was just important to bring up, because we need to know that beings, that just because a being isn't born on this world, and just because they look different than us, does not mean they're not capable of loving us and having compassion and showing us kindness and seeing us as brothers and sisters, and seeing us as part of their communities, part of their families, part of their existence. Because in the end, we are all everything, everywhere, and nowhere. We permeate all things, unified always, never apart. And that's not just Earth humans, that's all beings in the universe, that's all energy in the universe. So as I engage these beings of love and light, the raptors, the beings at the center of the earth, the beings in the water, the beings in the summer triangle, beings in the universe, they are here to aid humanity in our transcendence. And so I receive messages, and there's someone that I was unified with and then separated from, and then I will be unifying with again. But at some point I just start to get frustrated because my life has been slowing. COVID has kind of halted us all, and has forced us all to look within. And personally, I'm ready to start moving forward again. I'm ready to start getting things taken care of and creating change, right? I'm ready to go. And so I've been getting a little impatient. And so as I engage my guides and angels, they say, we will bring him to you quickly. We will protect you from this collective of this negative energy, negative polarity, beings projecting this negative energy, this negative polarity. We will bring everything together. We are with you. We support you. We are with you. Your journey is only beginning. And then Merlin, I started calling the Raptor Shaman Merlin, because it was shared that what he is capable of would be considered like magic to us, because seems to violate the laws of physics. But it says Merlin came into my space and was engaging me, and he confirmed who I am and what my purpose is. Now this is all June 5th, and not the initiation stuff, that's from before, but the messages after that, they're all from June 5th. They were just things I didn't really want to talk about last week. They pledged their support, and then they confirmed that the person I'm going to be unified with is a very important part of all of this transition. So destinies coming together. That's part of destinies coming together. He's just the one person I know I'm destined to reconcile with, but there are others. Merlin will assure my path. The Raptor Shaman. So then on June 8th, I had a vision. This would have happened at night. I woke up at night and I had a vision of, it looked like, it was round and it looked like straws. So if I had a bunch of straws in my hand and I was looking down at the straws, that's what it looked like, just a bunch of circles. And I have an image. I'll do a picture-in-picture. But then I could see them from the side. And so they were just like long straws all lined up. But I could see the top, so they're kind of at an angle. So I'm not sure. I'll show you a picture. So, and then so the first thing while I was looking at it, I'm like, this looks like the cylinders at Devil's Postpile Monument, and that is a monument in California. And so I went, and I'll post some pictures of that. I never went. We were going to do a trip there, but we didn't end up going. But I was reading about it, and what I was reading is they had believed it was one thing in the past, and they're like, but now we know it's something else. It's all wrong. It's all BS. What they changed it to, it's the original. That these things are like 1 million years old. They're very, very old. They're not just 100,000 years old. And what their assumption was is they're trying to change our history again. And it's very frustrating when I read this stuff and I'm like, oh my God, that is such poppycock. It's so untrue. But it's okay, because everything's being put to right now. That's all I know, is everything's being put to right. All these attempts to rewrite history and change our history, it's all going to fall away. It's just the last ditch effort to create the world that this negative polarity wants to create. It's not happening. So what it said is crystals grouped like straws, many of them in a circle, the size of a planet. So even though it looked like I could hold the straws in my hand, or the objects in my hand, they were all crystals, and they were made up the earth. And so this is what I knew after having that wisdom and vision. After having that vision, was that all the wisdom is contained in those crystals. And so just like humanity, and so this is where the Arcturans come in. The Arcturans kind of worked on our blood, our DNA, so that we would be able to hold the memory, the history, the knowledge, the wisdom of the universe in our blood, in our DNA. The Syrians worked on our planet so that our planet can hold the wisdom, the knowledge, the information of the universe. So this world is going to contain mind, body, and spirit, the knowledge and the wisdom of divinity. And that is why this world is going to transcend into balance. Because as we transcend into balance, and then we carry the depth and breadth of emotions, we will carry the depth and breadth of wisdom, of knowledge, in our bodies and on this world. And then we will send that out into the universe, creating balance in the universe, unifying the universe, and transcending the universe as a whole. And that message was pretty profound, but that is why we have these hybrid children. They are working towards, the mantis beings are working towards integrating the DNA of all beings in the universe into humanity's DNA, so that these beings, all beings in the universe, can carry the wisdom of divinity, of the divine creator, on the material plane, in their bodies and on their world. Because this world is everyone's world. It's not just ours. We are unified always, never apart. All time is now, and all time is right here. Everything is right here, okay? Right here. And that is this world that we're on. This is so important to understand, okay? And so it's very interesting when I talk about, I have a vision, so I see this vision of straws. They're not really straws, but that's the best description. And all of a sudden I have all these different layers of information that come in. And that's what I mean. Another example of what I mean when I say a message that comes in, a vision, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. It's not just one thing, it's many things. And it takes a while to work out. And I've gotten better at it. But it used to take me 6 months plus to work out one message. And now I can put it together pretty quickly because of all the other information I have now to draw from and reconcile and interpret. So this is what I wrote after I saw the crystals in the straws. The wisdom and the necessary knowledge of the universe is contained in the crystalline structure of Earth. The raptors have taken the lead in protecting and maintaining the integrity of these crystalline structures. So, as I said last week, the large beings in the center of the Earth protect the heart of Mother Earth. The beings in the water represent water, and the raptors represent Earth. So it is natural for the raptors to take the lead in protecting and having the most knowledge about the crystalline structures, the let's say the hard parts, the solid parts of the world, of this planet. That is naturally their path, to be overseers or protectors or guardians of that part of Mother Earth, as the water beings are protective of that the fluid, the movement, the water on this world. And let's see. Oh, okay. So on June 9th, I was walking to work. I was walking to the bus stop to go to work, and I got to this spot. I crossed the street, and then I was walking up the street to the bus stop. And along this street, there are trees that go all the way along. And a crow flies in and lands in the tree and just starts cawing. She was cawing. And I'm walking, and she's hopping from branch to branch next to me. And I stopped, and she stopped, but she kept cawing. And then I'd start moving again, and she'd start moving again. And I'd stop, and she'd stop. And she was cawing the whole time. And so I walked a little bit further, and then I stopped and I looked at her, and she just stood there and looked at me. She was cawing, cawing, cawing. And I'm like, okay. So then I kept walking. So there's this building right in front of the bus stop, and there is a perch, I guess, the corner of the building. She sits on the corner of the building, and she's cawing, 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 and I'm just standing there, and I just turn and I look right at her, because it's clearly she's engaging me. She's communicating. She's trying to communicate something to me. And so I just stand there. She drops off the perch, flies within about 4 feet of the top of my head, circles, and then flies back to the perch. I was like, huh, that's interesting. So I just stand there, and for about 20 seconds later, she drops off the perch, flies down about 3.5, 4 feet from the top of my head, just circles literally right there, and goes back to her perch, cawing the whole time. She has not stopped cawing, and she just sits there. So I close my eyes and I just clear my energy, and I start engaging her, because she's obviously communicating with me. She, third time, drops off the edge, flies around the top of my head and back. This is probably in the course of less than a minute, and goes back to the corner of that perch and just caws. So I just sat with it, and I just started engaging her. I can't remember what she said, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, I didn't really want to say this. All right, well. So, and then I'll just say, after the 3 times, she stood there on that perch for a while, and then she jumped back into the tree. Another crow came, and she just sat in the tree, and she just looked at me, and just was cawing until I got on the bus and left. But she sat staring at me the whole time. And this is what she said. You are chosen. The time is now. We have chosen you. And so when she said we, she meant the beings that the elementals would oversee. So animals, insects, trees, plants, earth itself. Anything that's not human, let's say. We have chosen you. Mother Earth has chosen you. This is your path, one of destruction and rebirth. So as soon as I closed my eyes and I started channeling her to get this communication, I saw absolute destruction in front of me, in the foreground. I saw absolute destruction, and the first thing that came to my mind was the bombing of Dresden during World War II. And so when I got to work, I looked up images for that, and it's exactly what it looked like. The vision, it was exactly the bombing of Dresden. These spires, these buildings with these tall spires, all burning, smoke, just total destruction. But in the background was just beautiful nature and balance, just beautiful green, just my most desirable hike in the mountains looked like this, with flowers and butterflies and birds and vegetation and redwoods and sequoias and whatever kind of trees I could come across, and the sun, blue skies, just exquisite. And so I was looking north. That was the feeling, as I was looking north. We support you. They will find you. They are coming for you. The transition is at hand. Be aware. Be loving. Be kind. You have nothing to fear. None of my preparation, let's see. Okay, so nothing of what I'm doing in my personal life right now has anything to do with this. This is a global vision. So my personal, individual life as Lorraine is separate from this vision. So I was asking about that. What is this directly related to my personal life? No, it's not. And so crows are prophetic, and sight and clairvoyance, and they also weave in and out of time and space. Okay, and that's a message for a friend of mine. I'm not going to read that. So I had a very profound, though I will say I had a very profound message for a friend of mine that I did convey to him. And then after I had that message come, I meditated, actually laid down specifically to meditate. And normally as I either go into meditation or come out of a meditation, that is the most, that's when I have the most profound visions or messages that come in. So, as I was coming out of this meditation, I saw words. And it's interesting, they never show me the whole word. I don't know why. I don't know why. I had a vision about a friend, and I couldn't see him, but I could see the motorcycle, and I could see his dashboard, and I could see his name, but only his first name and part of his last name. But I knew that it was his name, so I knew the vision was about him. And I just don't understand why they do that. But this vision came in, and I thought it said security guard, and I'm like, that's interesting, security guard. What could that possibly mean? And so I spent the rest of the day kind of trying to figure out what's security guard. That didn't make sense to me. So the next morning when I woke up, I just started channeling, and I connected with with Merlin, with the shaman, the Raptor Shaman. And he said to me, no, not security guard. He said, secure guardian. And I was like, oh, okay. That makes more sense, I guess. Secure guardian. So, and then I had Zako come in quite a bit, who is, what he does is harder to see, but his job as a guardian is about humanity. It's about the transition of humanity. So his work is I think it's harder to see, but I saw him working diligently, and so my light work is more about Mother Earth, bringing Mother Earth into balance and conveying messages. So I work with the heart of Mother Earth. I work with all beings on and in Mother Earth, in creating and assuring balance on this world. Zako works more with kind of neutralizing the negative polarity, the beings that are really trying to do everything they can to maintain control. He kind of stops, slows, or shuts down certain avenues that they're working towards. In some of my old videos, I talked about how they were using computers to kind of affect the timelines, and well, we don't really have computers that could do that. It would be Zako, would be an artificial intelligence that they are utilizing to manipulate and move through time. And so he uses his skill set to kind of direct them where he wants them to go. And that would be one example of what he was doing. Now that was, I think, a year ago that I probably did that video. Now it's more within this timeline right now, because we are so close. We are at transcendence. And so really shifting the timeline isn't going to help them. So they're working more in real time, let's say. And so what he's doing is more mitigating what they're doing right now in this moment. So then, let's see. I'm just going to read this. Our DNA will carry the whole of the universe. It will reconcile all life forms through the emotion of love from the material plane. Mother Earth, the crystals, will carry the whole, all knowledge of life of worlds. Mother Earth will unify the spheres, the creator of worlds. So the spheres are the creator of the worlds. The spheres, Earth, the round planets, Mars, Jupiter, they are the creator of life on those worlds. And so so Mother Earth is going to carry the crystals that carry the knowledge for all spheres, all creators of life on worlds. And then I had, so what is this still? This is all still June 9th. So then I had I've noted the lunar and solar eclipses, and I saw the Vesica Piscis, and I saw divinity unified whole as one. Then the separation that happened of the positive and the negative polarities, and then the reunification of the whole. And so that's what these solar eclipses and lunar eclipses are representing: the whole, the separation, and then the reunification of these positive and negative polarities. Joining of the sun and moon, duality conjoined, merged, unified in a new beginning. So we are visually witnessing divinity separate itself and then reunifying itself. We are reunifying the positive and the negative polarity on this world. We are at the beginning of this endeavor. We have become so separated by these polarities, and we have separated ourselves from one another, but now we are reunifying. And so these eclipses are visual, physical manifestations, kind of like, I'm sorry, my nose is tickling, kind of like this negative polarity uses a lot of subconscious implanting of information through the subconscious, with commercials, through the media, through movies, through symbolism, all these things. They've been using these tools to manipulate and control through psychology. This huge event, lunar eclipses and solar eclipses, are our divine creator, divinity, the source of all creation, God's physical manifestation, the implanting of this idea of unification, separation, and then reunification. These are huge, profound messages that are undeniable for us. And those who are awakened know this, okay? So this is June 13th, which would be today. This morning, this message came to me. When we reach the full potential as a people, we need to be able to expand from a place of unconditional love and light, a place of divine creation. From this place we are in now, we are unable to do this. We are unable to participate in divine creation. Therefore, from this place that we find ourselves, this world must be no more. It must destroy itself or implode. All is as it should be. From its destruction, a new civilization, world will rise, like a phoenix from the ashes. Those who transcend will be tasked with divine creation on this world. Do you know humility? Have you been loving, kind, accepting, tolerant, empathetic to those around you? those of like mind as well as those with differing opinions or viewpoints? Do you allow people to be who they are and learn from their experiences? Do you work to bring enlightenment, joy, love, and happiness to those around you? Help lift those struggling from a place of goodness and kindness? This is just a handful of things divinity, God, the creator of all things, asks of us. If this is not something you are ready for, then you will. If this is not something you are ready for, then you will transcend on another world, for there are many more things that will be asked of us that we must be ready to provide, for we are everything, everywhere, and nowhere. We permeate all things, unified always, never apart. We must be ready to serve one another from a place of unconditional love and light here on this world, then project that out into the universe. I have been tested over the past 5 years, over and over again. Would I remain in the light, or would I move into darkness? Although I am not perfect, I have never lost faith in God, divinity, the creator of all things. This past year, we have all been tested. What have you put your faith in? The answer to that question has determined your outcome. The consequences to the answer of that question is being played out now. Each individual on this world is either transcending and inheriting the earth, or will not be transcending and incarnating in the Cepheus Constellation in future lifetimes. This is the will of the divine energy that we are all part of, that we are manifested through. Therefore, this is our decision, one we made as a collective force from this world, for we all are everything, everywhere, and nowhere. We permeate all things, unified always, never apart. Collectively, we will bring love and light to this world, which once existed in discord, but no more. Okay, so I don't really want to read this part, but I guess I have to. All time is reconciled in this body. All time is reconciled in this body. You carry the life force of the universe. You are different. I have been tasked with helping you to reawaken to who you know yourself to be. Then the person I'm to meet in the future is the yin to my yang. And then it says, we await your orders, but I don't think they mean orders. I think it's requests. And that message was from Merlin, from the shaman, the Raptor Shaman. So I want to get back to this part, what I just read. So we as a civilization, we have come so far apart from one another. We are so separated. We are so committed to these ideologies. And it's not positive and negative. It is left and right. It is conservative and liberal. It is these ideologies that create division. So we are so committed to the ideologies, so many people are committed to the ideologies, that they are separating themselves from one another. They are not looking for ways to unify. They're looking for ways to divide themselves from one another. Everything is labeled. Everything is labeled. Nothing just is. I'm not just Lorene. I'm not just human. I'm undesirable because I consider myself female. I'm undesirable because I consider myself to be conservative. Based on the ideology of today, I would be labeled as conservative. I am a minority that does not support the liberal agenda. So I have all these labels that designate me, and I'm judged for it. And that creates separation. There's no just Lorene anymore. There's no just any. People are defined by their beliefs, by their preferences, and then labeled and categorized. Nobody can just be who they are. Nobody can just be human. No one can just be kind and considerate. That's not desirable anymore. You can't be categorized by that. You can't be separated by that. You can't be separated by goodness. You have to be separated by skin color, by ideology, by belief systems, by religion. That's how we're being organized. So what this transcendence is a reconciliation of all things, a unification of all things, a unification of humanity as we transcend. And we must unify with each other, with the divine, from a place of goodness, from a place of love and light, compassion, kindness, tolerance, acceptance of those around us. Allow people to be who they are, truly. Allow people to make mistakes and don't judge them. But if they will allow us to help them and guide them or support them, then be present for them. And that is where we're going. We're not here to separate and put what we consider the bad people over here, what we consider the desirable people over here, the less desirable people over here, the blue people over here, the black people over here, the green people over here, the orange people over here, the wealthy people over here, the poor people over here, the people who get the organic food over here, the people who get the toxic food over here. Socioeconomic. We're not doing that anymore. We're looking at everyone unified as a whole, helping one another, accepting one another, helping one another be better whenever possible. I always come from a place of knowing my strengths and weaknesses. I know my strengths, so I can use them to move myself forward, to drive myself forward, but also to help other people be better. At work is a prime example. When I'm at work and I'm working with my colleagues, I'm always saying, what can I do to help you? How can I help you? How can I support you? I'm always looking for ways that I can help and support other people be better. That is what I enjoy. And my weaknesses, I acknowledge my weaknesses so I don't allow them to draw me down, to stop me, to hold me back, to hinder my progress. To rein it in. My temper, I have to rein it in, because if I just let it go whenever it wants to, then it could be extremely detrimental to myself or anyone who has to deal with me when I'm not happy, when I'm angry. So I understand that I have that, and I rein it in. When I start to bubble or simmer, I look for outlets to express myself so I can express myself in an effective, positive, productive way. And so it's important to know your strengths and weaknesses so you can use it to help create change in a positive way. And that's something we all have to acknowledge about ourselves, so we could unify together, work together to create a better world. Because after the destruction of this world, as it is right now, we have to be able to work together to create a better world. We have to be able to work from a place of love, light, tolerance, acceptance of everyone around us, and work as a unifying force to create change from a place of love and light, from divine creation, from divine love. because what this world was created to do was create change in the universe and to help the universe transcend. There has to be a ground zero. There has to be a starting point. There has to be that first pebble to create the ripple effect. And this earth is the pebble creating the ripple effect in the world, in the universe. And therefore, we all must be coming from a place of understanding of our true divine self. We all must understand who we are, our connection to, not just our connection to divinity, to God, the creator of all things, but we must understand our divinity, our divine source. That divine source lies within us, is us. It is in every particle of energy that creates us. It's our consciousness that creates us. It's our consciousness that creates this person, this world, this universe. We have to understand that intimately so we can utilize it to create the change that we need to create in this universe. And people who are not ready, beings on this world right now that are not ready to accept and understand that part of themselves, and then use that divine energy within, that divine energy that is us, to create from a place of pure unconditional love, compassion, kindness, that source energy. Those people who are not ready for that cannot transcend. They cannot remain on this world. And so right now, the message that came in right now is you have made that decision with your consciousness, whether you're ready to transcend or whether you are not ready to transcend. You have already made that decision, and now the destruction as it happens is separating those who are transcending from those who are not. And there's no going back. That window from that lunar eclipse to the solar eclipse was that shifting of energy, was the decision making and the separation that's happening, the door closing here on earth, that door of opportunity to transcend or not transcend. That was the lunar eclipse. The solar eclipse is those who are transcending, that door opening to that that part of yourself that is the divine creator. And so those of us who are transcending are creating the future right now. Okay, we are creating that vision I had of nature in balance. So the foreground was what we're releasing, the separation, the destruction. We're releasing that. The background is what we're moving towards: divine creation, unconditional love, acceptance, tolerance, change, birth, creation, rebirth, creation. That's very, very profound. And so that last part about all time being reconciled here in this body, was that happened actually when I was clearing my energy right before at the beginning of this video. So and they kind of drop bombs like that on me because they don't give me enough time to think about it and not talk about it. So, and it's probably better that I don't have time to think about it. So that's all the notes I have for today, but I'm going to just sit and channel for a minute and see if anything else comes to me. So the message that came in was just, you are protected. Everyone must endure what is to come next. So they had a choice. They've had the last year to consider what they would do and how they would do it. They all had a choice, and they have made their choice. And then he's saying, this is the Merlin, the Raptor Shaman. So he said, you did all you could. And he's saying that even though, he said, my words permeate the collective consciousness. Even though maybe not people are, a lot of people aren't consciously hearing the messages, he said they are permeating the collective consciousness. They have been made aware of the choices and have made their choice. He said, you are strong and you have affected the most important people in the way you were meant to. Meaning the most important people that I am to, that my destinies are to cross with. You did what you were supposed to do. And so he's just telling me that things are going to go the way they're meant to go for me and not to worry about anything. And so there's just a real melancholy energy right now with these beings, the beings in the water, the raptors, the beings in the summer triangle. There's no real engaging me per se. I think they're expressing a mourning for those who will not be transcending. They're expressing gratitude. And then the Merlin just said, we will be here when you call. Okay. That's it. Thank you.